For years, I believed loneliness was the biggest threat to aging. Everyone said, "You need friends to be happy." But then, something happened. A close friend, someone I'd known for decades, started drifting away. At first, I felt abandoned. I asked myself, am I becoming invisible? But then, I stumbled upon a surprising truth. One that completely changed how I see life after 70. And once I embraced it, I felt freer, happier, and more at peace than ever before. If you've ever worried about losing friends as you age, what I'm about to share might change everything for you too. Before I share this life-changing insight, I want you to be part of this journey. If you want real, honest advice on aging better without the cliches, hit subscribe and join this community. Trust me, this shift in perspective could be the key to a happier, more independent life. Maybe you felt it too. Friends who used to call every week slowly disappear. The invitations stop coming, conversations feel distant like you're no longer part of their world. And then that quiet thought creeps in. Am I becoming invisible? Everyone says, just go make new friends. As if that's so easy. But no one talks about how exhausting it can be. The effort, the small talk, the fear of rejection. It's not like when we were younger, when friendships formed naturally through work, family, or shared routines. And so you start wondering, is something wrong with me? I've been there, and let me tell you, there is nothing wrong with you. In fact, what if I told you that losing friends isn't a sign of loneliness, but an opportunity? What if you didn't need to chase friendships to feel happy? What if, instead of fearing this stage of life, you embraced it? For years, I believed that losing friends meant losing happiness. I clung to relationships that no longer felt the same, afraid that without them, I'd be alone. But one day, something shifted. I stopped chasing. I stopped worrying. And for the first time, I saw the truth. I wasn't lonely. I was free. Free from the weight of one-sided friendships. Free from the guilt of trying to keep up with people who had already moved on. Free from drama, obligations and disappointments. And most importantly, free to rediscover who I really am. Because here's something no one tells you. We spend so much of our lives being someone for others, parents, spouses, colleagues, friends, that when we finally get time to be ourselves, we don't know where to start. But independence after 70 isn't an ending, it's a new beginning. Think about it, no more expectations, no more pleasing others just to maintain a friendship. You get to wake up and ask yourself, what do I want today? You get to choose how you spend your time, who you let into your life, and what truly brings you joy. And once I embraced this mindset, everything changed. Instead of worrying about who wasn't there, I focused on who was, me. And for the first time in years, I felt at peace. So if you've ever felt like you're losing connections, I want you to consider this. Maybe you're not losing anything at all. Maybe you're gaining something far more valuable yourself. Here's the 6 reasons you don't need friends after 70. First, you finally get to prioritize yourself. For most of our lives, we've been defined by the roles we play. Parents, spouses, employees, caregivers, friends. We put others first because that's what we were taught. Our time, energy, and even our dreams often took a backseat to responsibility. And for years, that felt normal. But now, everything has changed. You don't have to wake up to an alarm clock dictated by someone else's schedule. You don't have to say yes to plans you don't want. You don't have to carry the weight of expectations. For the first time in decades, you can ask yourself, what do I want today? And the best part, you don't need anyone's permission to follow that answer. Maybe you want to take a long, quiet morning walk without feeling rushed. Maybe you want to learn something new, pick up a hobby you abandoned, or even just sit with a cup of coffee in complete peace. These are simple things, but for so long they felt out of reach because life was always about someone else. This stage of life isn't about losing people. It's about gaining yourself. It's a rare opportunity to live life on your own terms without compromise. And that's not selfish. It's necessary. Because when you finally start choosing you, you'll realize how much you've been missing. And once you embrace that freedom, you'll wonder why you ever put yourself second in the first place. Friendships can be beautiful, but let's be honest, they can also be complicated. They come with expectations, obligations, and sometimes disappointments. Maybe you've experienced it, a friend who suddenly stops calling, a conversation that turns into gossip, or an old friendship that just doesn't feel the same anymore. And at this stage in life, do you really need that stress? Think about it. How many times have you kept a friendship going just to avoid awkwardness? How often have you bitten your tongue to keep the peace? How many times have you been the one putting in all the effort only to feel unappreciated? But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your energy, not anymore. Life after 70 should be about peace, not problems. If a relationship feels draining, it's okay to let it go. If a conversation leaves you more frustrated than fulfilled, it's okay to walk away. You're not being rude, you're protecting your peace, and peace is priceless. Imagine waking up without worrying about who you need to call back or whether someone is upset with you. Imagine spending your days in calmness, choosing activities and people that truly bring you joy. That's the kind of freedom you deserve. Some might say, but what if I get lonely? Loneliness isn't about how many people you have around you, it's about how you feel inside. And the irony? When you prioritize peace over pleasing others, you naturally attract the right kind of people. Those who respect your space, your time, and your happiness. So if a friendship no longer adds to your life, don't be afraid to let it go. Less drama, more peace. That's a trade worth making. 3. Your happiness shouldn't depend on others. For most of our lives, we've been told that happiness comes from the people around us, that the more friends we have, the richer our lives will be. But here's the truth. The happiest people aren't the ones surrounded by crowds. They're the ones who have learned to enjoy their own company. Because if you can be happy alone, you'll never feel lonely. Think about it. How many times have you felt lonely, even in a room full of people? Loneliness isn't about the number of friends you have. It's about how connected you feel to yourself. And the mistake most people make? They rely on others to fill that void. They expect friendships to keep them entertained, distracted, or validated. But when those friendships fade, they feel lost. But here's the secret. When you stop seeking happiness from others, you start finding it within yourself. You begin to enjoy simple moments, reading a book without distraction, taking a quiet morning walk, sipping coffee, and truly tasting it. You realize that peace doesn't come from noise and busyness, but from contentment within. And the irony, the less you need people to make you happy, the more fulfilling your relationships become. Because the best connections aren't built on dependence, they're built on choice. When you don't rely on others for happiness, you stop tolerating shallow friendships. You naturally attract people who respect your peace and add value to your life. So if you've ever feared being alone, I want you to try something. Instead of seeing it as loneliness, see it as freedom. Freedom to wake up without expectations, to move at your own pace, to live without compromise. Because once you learn to enjoy your own company, you'll never feel alone again. 4. Quality over quantity. A few strong connections are enough. For most of our lives, we've been told that a big social circle means a better life, that being surrounded by people makes us happier. But here's the truth. After 70, it's not about how many friends you have, it's about having the right connections. A few deep, meaningful relationships, whether it's with family, a lifelong friend, or even a pet, are worth more than a room full of acquaintances. Think back to your younger years. How many people have come and gone? Co-workers, neighbours, social friends, they served a purpose in that season of life. But how many of them truly mattered? How many of them would still be there if things got tough? At this stage, chasing friendships for the sake of staying social isn't necessary. What's necessary is having people who genuinely care. Someone you can talk to without pretense. Someone who respects your time and values your presence. Even a pet can provide more unconditional love and companionship than a group of casual acquaintances ever could. And the best part? When you stop worrying about having more friends, you start appreciating the ones who truly matter. A heartfelt conversation with one trusted person is more fulfilling than 10 small talk exchanges with people who don't really see you. A peaceful afternoon with a beloved pet can bring more joy than forcing yourself into social situations that drain you. More time for growth and passion. For most of our lives, our time wasn't really our own. We juggled work, family, friendships, always giving, always managing, always putting others first. And now you finally have something priceless: time. Time to explore, to learn, to create, time to focus on you. Some people see fewer friendships as a loss, but what if it's actually a gift? Without constant social obligations, you have the freedom to do things you never had time for. Have you ever wanted to write, to paint, to learn an instrument, to travel somewhere new, even if it's just a town over? This is your chance. The mistake many people make is thinking life slows down after 70. But the truth? It only slows down if you let it. Some of the most fulfilled people in their later years aren't the ones clinging to old friendships. They're the ones embracing new passions. They're the ones waking up with curiosity, not nostalgia. They're the ones who see this stage of life as a beginning, not an ending. Think of it this way: if you had 10 extra hours a week, what would you do with them? Now, what if I told you that you already have those hours? All the time spent maintaining friendships that no longer serve you, worrying about social obligations, or trying to fit into circles that have changed. That's time you can reclaim for yourself. You're not losing friends. You're gaining space to grow, to dream, to do things that make you come alive. And the best part, when you start living for you, you might just find that the right people, those who truly align with your passions, will naturally come into your life. You attract better relationships by being independent. Here's something most people don't realize. The less you need people, the more fulfilling your relationships become. When you stop chasing friendships or trying to fit into social circles, the right people naturally find their way into your life. Why? Because independence is powerful, and strong, self-sufficient people naturally attract others who respect and value them. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who seemed completely at ease with themselves? They weren't desperate for attention, they weren't trying to impress anyone. And yet, people were drawn to them. That's the energy of independence. It's confidence, it's self-respect. And when you embody that, you don't have to try to make friends. The right connections will form effortlessly. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts after 70. Stop thinking of relationships as something you have to maintain. Instead, let them happen naturally. The friendships that require constant effort just to survive, let them go. The ones that bring you peace, joy, and real connection, those are the ones worth keeping. And here's the irony. When you stop depending on people for your happiness, you actually become a better friend, partner, or companion. Why? Because you're not expecting them to fill a void. You're not clinging to them out of fear or obligation. You're simply enjoying them for who they are, with no pressure or neediness. So if you've been worried about losing friendships, let that worry go. Focus on building a life that excites you. Learn, explore, grow. Become the person you enjoy spending time with. And as you do, you'll notice something incredible. The right people, the ones who truly belong in your life, will come to you naturally, without force, without struggle, and without you ever having to chase them. Aging isn't about losing people. It's about gaining yourself. It's about shedding the expectations, the obligations, and the idea that happiness comes from others. The truth is, you don't need a big social circle to feel fulfilled. You just need purpose, peace, and a life that excites you. Think about it. This stage of life isn't an ending, it's a new beginning. A chance to focus on what truly matters, a chance to wake up each day and ask, what do I want to do today? without worrying about pleasing others or maintaining relationships that no longer serve you. Maybe you've spent years believing that friendships are the key to happiness, but what if happiness was something you could create on your own? What if true contentment came from within, from embracing independence, pursuing passions, and surrounding yourself only with the people and activities that bring real joy? You have more freedom now than ever before. The freedom to set your own pace, to choose who and what deserves your energy, and to build a life that feels good to you. No more forcing connections, no more feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself, no more chasing friendships out of habit rather than fulfillment. So here's my question to you. What's one thing you've always wanted to do for yourself? Something you've put off for years because life got in the way? Drop a comment below and share it with me. Let's rewrite the rules of aging together, one choice at a time. Because at the end of the day, you don't need more friends, you need more moments that make you feel truly alive.